All right, just give me a minute or so to get things started. While you're coming in, feel free to say hello. Also, smash the like button because that definitely helps out the channel. And yeah, we're almost ready to get started here in just a few more minutes here. So kind of giving time for people to kind of join in, and we're gonna got some things to discuss today for Friday. We are an uncensored podcast, so if you get into your feelings in some of these subjects, then yeah, I don't know what to say to you. But it's about to get real. It's about to get real here in a minute. Also, if you guys would like to try out Helium Mobile, use the QR code below there. That will set you up to get your first month for free. And if you guys want to help out the channel with a small monetary donation, the upper QR code at the top left corner will remain throughout the podcast. Everything that you send goes directly to me, so you don't have to worry about YouTube taking any of it. But other than that, we made it to Friday. First week of September is done with. How amazing is that? That is absolutely crazy. We've already passed the first week of September. Definitely. If you guys want to grab one of these awesome shirts, definitely scan that QR code to take you to my store so you guys can purchase one of these shirts and rock them in support of Team Nexus or Team Pixel. Gotta represent for both. You know, the Days of Nexus was amazing. So yeah, big shout out to Team Nexus folks. And then of course, Team Pixel, those that are like real fans of the Pixel devices. So we'll yeah, shots fired, triggered. No, I'm not trying to trigger anybody. But anyways, yeah, come in and say hi. Don't be shy. Don't be afraid. Glad to have you guys here. And yeah, so what we're talking about today, we're going over people on social media calling the Pixel 9 best smartphone of 2024. And we haven't even gotten to the other smartphones for the remainder of the year. So I want to kind of talk and address that. I also kind of want to talk about, the whole thing that's going on with X and censorship. That's going to be towards the end of the podcast. A little bit more about Helium Mobile news and checking on Helium Mobile, see if there's anything that's different, anything they blogged about, and kind of discuss that. As well as talking about the iPhone 16 right around the corner. It's rapidly approaching. I believe it's Monday is glow time, so we'll see what the event is all about and whatnot. But all right, we are good to go this morning. So yeah, how are you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are having an amazing day. It's Friday, so if you are a Monday through Friday worker, then today's your Friday and you're off for the weekend. If you work on the weekends, well, hopefully your Friday's going out to be pretty good. Yeah, mine's is doing okay so far. Wanted to get a live stream in, and then later on the video for the custom ROM Evo X and what it can do as far as customization. That drops later on this afternoon. So 3 p.m. my time is when it will drop. But yeah. All right. Anyway, so yeah, let's kick the tires and light the fires and get into it. So I'm actually going to just start off with, Helium Mobile. We're going to discuss that first and see what's kind of new, what's going on with them. So I got their blog page pretty much pulled up here. We'll just kind of go over that. For right now, I'll close the chat until there's some actual posts there, and then we'll kind of focus on that. But yeah, so the last bit of post that came from Helium Mobile and their blog is HIP 130 or HIP 130 accelerating coverage with data-only mobile hotspots. So let's kind of just go into that. And there's one thing I like about Helium Mobile, which is why I kind of enjoy, being a subscriber to their services. Besides the fact of, getting phone service for only $20 a month, and then also being able to earn crypto as you use phone service. but they also tend to stay up with a lot of what's going on with them, kind of keeping a lot of the customers and those that are like, interested in Helium Mobile, keeping them up to date with certain things that's going on. So if you're a Helium Mobile subscriber and you are dabbling with cryptocurrency, then all this blogs and stuff that I talk about will apply to you, so you have an idea of what's kind of going on. But it says here on their latest blog, they say recently Helium improved proposal 130 or HIP 130 went live for voting, introducing the concept of data-only mobile hotspots to accelerate coverage for Helium network. By allowing the deployment of these hotspots that focus solely on data transfers without the need for proof of coverage, HIP 130 simplifies the deployment process, lowers barriers to entry, and speeds up the expansion of the network coverage. If passed, HIP 130 has the potential to make Helium network even more attractive to carriers. More carriers on the network mean more data traffic and more opportunities for builders and hotspot owners to increase their reward earnings potential. So to give you like a link that pretty much will, let me see, copy link address. I'll put it in the chat. So anyone that wants to read it at their own time can do that. But there it is. So they have details on the HIP 130. And then this is a link if you guys want to vote. So I'll put those. Those are all in the chat right now. And so it just kind of gives you a little bit of information here. What is HIP 130 about? HIP 130 proposes the introduction of data-only mobile hotspots to rapidly scale Helium network coverage by leveraging pre-existing Wi-Fi installations. Data-only mobile hotspots would transfer mobile data for the Helium network and earn data transfer rewards, but would not participate in proof of coverage or POC activities or rewards. What is a data-only mobile hotspot? Data-only mobile hotspot is a Wi-Fi access point, typically enterprise-grade, that can transfer data on Helium network through Passpoint, a technology that allows seamless and secure connections for mobile devices. Data-only mobile hotspots would be equipped with a custom configuration to add them to the Helium network and ensure the efficiency managed data transfer. Earn rewards solely for transferring paid data, meaning they do not participate in the proof of coverage activities and do not earn POC rewards. Not required foundation certification, making them easier and faster to deploy. And this gives you a little bit more about it, like how do data-only mobile hotspots benefit the Helium network? The benefit of the Helium network: data-only mobile hotspots are significantly accelerate the expansion of coverage at lower data costs, making it more attractive to carriers and their subscribers. As coverage grows, Helium's network can attract more carriers, which in turn increases both data traffic and reward potential. More reward potential provides greater incentive for more builders to participate in the building the network, further expanding coverage. So as you guys can see here, the approach with Helium Mobile really is all customer based, and they're kind of relying on customers to do their own builds, right? Their own tower builds, getting the outdoor hotspots, setting up a tower, whether at your home or place of business. And there are just so many different ways. There's like different YouTubers that you can, watch that are solely dedicated towards building, Helium network. And they've been doing it well before Helium started offering the outdoor hotspots. So they've been buying their own actual equipment and making sure that it's compatible and able to run and have Helium Mobile customers connect to it. And they do all sorts of builds. There's a couple of people on my Facebook group that have shared pictures of their builds for the outdoor hotspot. And so this definitely will benefit those that are very interested in doing at-home builds. The incentive for existing community builders gain greater flexibility in deploying coverage with data-only mobile hotspots. They have the option to deploy the Helium mobile hotspots, or HMH, where there's an opportunity, or if selling additional hardware is challenging, they can partner with the site's IT teams to convert pre-existing Wi-Fi sites into data-only mobile hotspots. So that's a little bit more of an aggressive approach for Helium builders to go out there and repurpose, repurpose old hardware. I have an idea about this, and I don't know if Helium Mobile will ever consider it, but I have an idea about this. But I'll explain. I'll explain my idea after this. What is Passpoint? Passpoint is Wi-Fi standard that allows mobile devices to automatically connect to compatible Wi-Fi networks without the need for manual intervention. It provides a seamless and secure connection experience for users, enabling them to roam along different Wi-Fi networks. For more info, we'll grab this link here and I'll put it in the chat. And send. There you have it. Okay. What type of manufacturers support Passpoint compatible Wi-Fi access points? Manufacturers that support Passpoint compatible Wi-Fi access points include brands like Cisco, Meraki, Aruba Networks, Ruckus Wireless, and Ubiquiti. These manufacturers provide enterprise-grade access points that by default support the Passpoint standard. Who pays for the data? Data costs are paid for by the carriers who transfer data over the data-only mobile hotspots. Does data show up as DC burned? Yes, data transmitted through data-only mobile hotspots will be recorded as data credits or DCs burned. This reflects the amount of data transferred on the network and is a key metric for tracking usage. And then finally, will data-only mobile hotspots be shown on the coverage planner? They say yes. Data-only mobile hotspots are expected to be included in the Helium Mobile Coverage Planner tool. This will allow users to identify their locations and make informed decisions about deployments. So that is basically the whole gist of HIP 130. Now, here's my thoughts on Helium Mobile, as they are really about trying to get Helium Mobile customers to deploy hotspots for customers who have the Helium Mobile service on their smartphones to be able to connect to offload data traffic off T-Mobile's network, which is who they use with their MVNO partner agreement. Now, here's the thing. In major cities all across the United States, there are still some areas that have payphones set up. And I remember this idea from way back in the day because I thought it would have been pretty cool if Google had done this. Google could have done this for their Google Fi, but they didn't do it. And hey, you know what? They're lost. But as for me, I look at it as an opportunity for Helium Mobile to maybe even, grasp this idea. And so the idea is with these payphones is to convert them to Helium Mobile hotspots. Could you imagine? I mean, they have the power, right? They draw power from the power lines directly into them. So you wouldn't have to worry about a power source for these things to operate. You could encase the box for protection so nobody damages it. And it can deploy signal every other block, making more people dependent on the data connection to that than over T-Mobile's network, which will all offload the data traffic used. And I think that would be a great idea that Helium Mobile do something like that. Reason being is the city can actually get in on it, right? Like if my city I live in, if Phoenix was to get in on this, and they were to convert a lot of the payphones that they have all around downtown Phoenix and out there by downtown Tempe, Arizona, and downtown Mesa and downtown Glendale, if they were to convert those payphones in those areas, because they're doing absolutely nothing. Like nobody really uses the payphone nowadays. So they're just sitting there. And, convert those to Helium Network mobile hotspots. They could use like the indoor hotspots because they have 150 feet radius range. So that would allow some coverage connections in between blocks and pretty much offload a lot of the data traffic being used. And, the city could benefit off of it because obviously those hotspots would be earning rewards. The city would actually be collecting those rewards, right? So then they can use that towards other city things, city functions and stuff like that. Or even going out there and helping families that are hungry to get more food. I mean, there's so much that can be done with this level of, of integration of service. And I really wish that, some cities would start considering that to, lessen, how much payphones are sitting out there not being used, like convert them, you know. Which wouldn't surprise me if someone took this idea from Helium Mobile and decided to create their own company that, you know, converts these prepaid phones into mobile hotspots to offload data traffic from any carrier user. And at the same time, you know, earning some sort of crypto on it, being able to set that up for themselves so that way they can convert all the rewards that they get from these hotspots over to doing something nice for the city, like, you know, repurposing parks and, you know, places for kids to be safe, feeding the homeless, feeding the families that are hungry, helping families who lost their homes. Like, there's so much potential in this to kind of go on such a broader aspect. I kind of wish that, you know, Helium would capitalize on it. Because I really would like to see Helium grow. This is something that, you know, I wish that, you know, to be honest, I wish that Mobile X would even get into it. I know Peter Adderton talked about what if they created the X coin, like create the X coin, you know, get into the crypto market and do something like this with Mobile X. It would be so helpful and so beneficial to people out there. Like, there's just so much that can be expanded on this. And I'm just surprised that those are some of the things that are not even really looked at least I don't know of. I mean, I don't know if city councils ever got together and started talking about doing something like that. Maybe they've tabled it, but maybe there's like certain things that they couldn't come to an agreement with. I don't know, but I would love to see them do that. And that would repurpose a whole bunch of payphones that's not being used. It would earn so much rewards to allow to be able to basically, you know, allow people, you know, to like different things to help. What's up, Michael? To like help those that are hungry, families that are hungry, families that are homeless. Like, there's just so much potential behind it. So I would say Helium Mobile should look into that as well. And cities, big metro cities should look into that too as well. Refreshing. But anyway, that's a little bit of a Helium Mobile news. Every time I go live, expect a possible news update with Helium Mobile. If there's anything new that they blogged about, I will, you know, I will blog about it in my podcast, right? So Helium Mobile, decentralized wireless service. Good on them. Anyhow, yeah, so moving away from Helium Mobile, let's talk about these people posting on social media all about, you know, the Google Pixel 9 being best smartphone of the year. You guys should know me. I would have no problem with that at all whatsoever. However, I would say it's still too soon to make that claim. It's really too soon to make that claim. We got the iPhone 16s that's about to launch right around the corner. We still have to wait for the Samsung Galaxy S25s. So to really kind of make that claim just so far, I mean, like, yeah, I trust me, I would feel the same way too if I got a hold of the Pixel 9s and it was such a fantastic experience that I really felt like I didn't want to try anything else. I can see myself saying that, but in the reality of things, when it comes to the tech space, we kind of get crucified for making those types of things, those types of judgments right off the bat. But I am happy though that people are enjoying and liking the experience they're getting with the Pixel 9s. Like, that makes me happy because I'm like, wow, if the normal people that I see that usually trash Google Pixel phones are out there making this statement on social media, it speaks high volumes of just how well and how far the Pixel 9 has come from previous Pixel devices. What's up, Isaac? So, you know, the simple fact that people are making this claim on social media that it is the best smartphone of 2024, while I smile about it, I'm also realistic. Like, let's see what the iPhone 16 is bringing to the table, right? So the iPhone 16 is right around the corner. I am going to be watching it. I am going to be live streaming while I'm watching it. The only thing that you will not get is you will not get to see the event through my channel. So I will not be like putting it up on the screen as a screen share and watching it. I'll be reacting to it live, and I will tell you guys what I see and my thoughts on things. So it'll look just like this. I'll have some background music just for some entertainment, and I'll be watching the event, listening on my headphones. And if they say something, I will say what it is that they said that intrigued me, and I will give you guys my thoughts. Hopefully you guys are cool with that. That's the best that I can do, because if I actually show their live stream on my live stream, they'll strike my channel. So anyhow, yeah, so let's kind of pump the brakes on the Pixel 9 being called best phone of 2024 until the iPhone 16 comes out. We can't really throw the Galaxy S25 in that, because the Galaxy S25 obviously is going to launch in 2025, and that would go head to head with the Pixel 10 and the iPhone 17. So we had the Galaxy S24 that launched earlier this year. We got the Pixel 9, which just launched last month, and people are getting their pre-orders. Even now, like the Pixel Fold, the Pixel 9 Fold, and the Pixel 9 Pro are reaching customers who ordered those specific devices, which I'm glad to see that there's people that actually went for the smaller Pro model, because it lets me know that with the Pixel 10, we should get a repeat of that. What's up, Cheap Sneaker Finds? We should get a repeat of that with the Pixel 10, so I'm guesstimating that we're going to see a Pixel 10, a Pixel 10 Pro, and a Pixel 10 Pro XL. That would be beautiful to see. Love to see that. But calling it best smartphone of 2024, I would hold off on giving it that moniker just yet until this comes out, which I kind of want to go over with you guys too as well. iPhone 16, right? That's coming around right now, and this is from the website macrumors.com, so I'll pop the link in for you guys, and y'all can pretty much read it at your own leisure. Some people wonder how we live in the hot Southwest. So we stay indoors under the AC. Yeah, that is true. Absolutely true. You ain't lying. Phoenix has more of a vibrant nightlife than it does day life. Almost, you know, like Las Vegas kind of. Even though like Las Vegas is a city of sin and is meant to have a nightlife, obviously, with all the the casinos, the gambling, the live events, and the drinking. Phoenix has a nightlife too, but that's just because that's when people are mostly active, is at night, because we can't really be all that active in the day when it's like 110 outside. Wish I could have gotten one of the Pixel 9s, but I have to wait 3 years because of AT&T. Yeah, unless unless you have a phone that someone's wanting to buy and you're able to get the amount that it would cost to pay off the phone, then sell it for what it would cost to pay off the phone, and upgrade to the Pixel 9. Oh yeah, for sure. I'm pretty sure you guys didn't have that extreme of a heat. But obviously too, if you guys follow weather, I'm sorry, I do. I follow weather stuff. I follow a couple of YouTubers who talk about weather anomalies and all that. And I do know that this year, well, actually, this summer, the ocean current temperatures have switched. So we were in a state of El Nino for, I think, a couple of years, where ocean temperatures were really warm, I believe. And then La Nina, we're now in the phase of La Nina, where the ocean temperatures are a lot colder, I believe. That's how it goes, or vice versa. I may have gotten mixed up. Anyways, with La Nina means that we have colder winters. With El Nino means that we have longer summers. So, yeah, go figure there. Anyways, iPhone 16. So these are all the rumors of the iPhone 16. So they have like the lineup over here, the 2024 iPhone 16 lineups right there. Honestly, I'm cool with this design. I don't see why people are getting so fragile and so, anal about the pill-shaped dual camera sensors. I mean, I have dual camera sensors on my iPhone 12, and I got this gray box here, which it's like this great box with two sensors inside of it. It just makes more sense to just trim it down to a little pill shape like that. I see no problem with this at all whatsoever. But you know what? Like, it's not the greatest design change, right? It's not the giant design refresh that people were kind of hoping for, but I think it looks great. And honestly, if I wanted to update to a newer iPhone, I would go for the 16 model, and I would go for this design. Like, this design is fine by me. I don't need the third additional camera sensor, so I don't really need a Pro model. The Pro model still have the square camera module on the back. This is like kind of like a modernized but pays homage to the iPhone 10 and the iPhone 10s, which I have my iPhone 10 and my iPhone 10s. And yeah, this just kind of pays homage to them with a more modern look, right? So this is what you would get if the iPhone 12 and the iPhone 10 had a child. This is what you would get. Anyway, so, the Glow Time event, they're just talking a little bit about it. The iPhone 16 Pro having like a 6.3-inch display, whereas for the iPhone 16s, while the iPhone 16 models won't get bigger, they will get some minor design tweaks thanks to new buttons. But for the most part, both the standard iPhone 16 models and the Pro models will look like the 15 and 15 Pro. Okay. Let's see. Apple is designing a new A series chip for the iPhone 16 lineup, built on the latest N3E3 nanometer node. We could see some improvements to efficiency and performance, but haven't heard details yet, just what to expect. 16 and 16 Pro could use different chips, but the higher end chip limited to the Pro models, but all models expect to support iOS 18 Apple Intelligence features. So that's nice that all of them are going to have Apple's AI. I prefer the vertical camera bump. And no, it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look bad at all. For the iPhone 16 models, Apple's planning a new vertical camera lens arrangement. That is a departure from the prior diagonal lens setup. The new orientation will presumably allow standard iPhone 16 models to capture spatial video for Vision Pro handsets. Apple is expected to bring the Tetra Prism 5x optical zoom lens to the iPhone 16 Pro, so it may not be limited to just the iPhone 16 Pro Max this year. It has like a little YouTube video of everything that they know. They still kind of going on the design. They tested several designs for the standard iPhone 16 models, but ultimately decided on the vertical aligned camera system with a pill-shaped camera bump. Prior iPhones have used square-shaped camera bumps to accommodate the diagonal lenses, but Apple is able to slim down the camera bump with the new lens. And it's a good thing they also did this too, because I'm telling you guys, the camera square bump that previous iPhones had, they were getting larger and larger to where it was like a giant square like this around the phone. It was just starting to look ridiculous. So cutting it down to a pill size to me is just like, just absolutely crazy on that. Yeah, so you want a link to come in? Okay. Sending you the link right now. Just give me a sec. All right, the link has been sent. Anyways, so they still talk about the whole pill-shaped thing in this article. They go on the colors for it. It looks like there's 7 colors: blue, pink, yellow, green, black, white, and purple. I guess Ming-Chi Kuo basically believes the 16 will be available in black, green, pink, blue, and white with no purple or yellow options. Ming-Chi Kuo has been pretty good at calling things when it comes to like the newest upcoming iPhones. And then, of course, we had Unbox Therapy, who unboxed replicas of the iPhone 16s, and these are the ones that, he pulled out of the packages, right? White, black, this blue color, this teal green color or turquoise color, and then the pink. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. These are the dummy models that were sent out to different content creators so they can see what it looks like. Obviously, this is a regular 16, 16 Plus, 16 Pro, 16 Pro Max. Got the action buttons. Looks like it's got a camera button too. So a dedicated camera button, as well as the action button, volume rockers on the left side. You got the Siri / wake lock screen button on the right side, and then a dedicated camera button. So that's pretty nice. Of course, you talk about the size changes in the 16 Pro. So you get like from the 16 Pro to the 15 Pro. Just little incremental changes, nothing too drastic. 6.3-inch display versus 6.1 on the 15 Pro, and then you got the screen border, so smaller bezel, right? 1.2 millimeters versus 1.71 millimeters, and the weight change too, 194 grams to 187 grams. With the 16 Pro Max, you got see, like the heights are just a little different. 6.9-inch to 6.7-inch from last year's model. Both have, well, the 16 Pro Max is a 1.15 millimeter bezel versus a 1.55 millimeter on the 15 Pro Max, and then about 4 grams heavier than the 15 Pro Max when it comes down to it. Yeah, so a lot of this stuff I'll just wait until Monday to really kind of go after. I mean, they did talk about the capture button here. Extra capture button. The button is located on the same side of the iPhone as the power button in the place that it occupied by the 5G millimeter wave antenna in the United States. With the addition of this button, the millimeter wave cutout has been relocated to the left side of the device below the volume buttons. So they moved that little area. What they're talking about, let's kind of show you guys real quick. What they're talking about is this antenna right here has been moved over to the left side underneath the volume rocker. So that way, where this antenna cutout is at, this will be where the new action is, which, the action button for the camera, which is fine because when you take a photo, it's right there. So you can click to take photos. That'd be absolutely nice. What would actually be cool though, and I'm pretty sure Apple will do it down the road in the future if they kind of hijack my idea, is converting that camera action button, into what do you call that? Into kind of like a capacitive touch, so it's not an actual physical button. Let's see. Yeah, I sent you the invite already, BTech. I feel like if we're to get a new iPhone, it would be the base or SE version now. Now they're still doing the four models, right? The 16, 16 Plus, 16 Pro, 16 Pro Max. Yeah, so this generation it's going to be the Bionic A18 chip. So that's to be expected there. What up, man?
Yo, special guest in the house, B-Tech, what's it?
What's up, man? What do you think about the iPhone 16 so far?
I mean, I like the redesign in some ways. Like, I don't really care for the huge camera bump that the last couple have had since basically the iPhone 11 Pro. So I like the refresh on that end. It just seems more simpler, the design. And you're still going to get the same, UI and everything like that pretty much for the last 100 iPhones that have come out. So I think, I think a design refresh has been in order for a while already. Of course, obviously, I think the Pro models are going to still continue with that larger, 3 camera bump design. But other than that, I like it. I don't know if you had answered the question because I stepped out really quick, but is there any information on a new iPhone SE 4th generation, or are we just sticking to the regular iPhones?
So this only just covers like the regular iPhones. They said they made no mention of the SE. I don't think they're gonna do the SE at this event, only because we're already on the edge of the Pixel 9a, and I think Apple is gonna kind of do the same thing. They're gonna have their SE model come around the same time the 9a is coming. Yeah. So yeah, those.
My question is, why haven't they released the new iPhone SE? It's already been a couple of years now.
Yeah, it's not for Apple and the amount of time that they've released the SE models. I've never really seen them since the very first one do it where it's like an every year release. I think they do it like every couple of years, and I know that this next SE that's coming up has been long awaited since the last one. The last one came out when, in 2022?
Yeah, I think so. That's why I'm saying, man, it's already been a couple of years since the 3rd gen popped out.
Yeah, so I've already seen websites like 4 months ago talk about a new SE model coming. They just never really said exactly when it's going to launch, but it's it won't. At least I don't think it will launch. I could be wrong. Monday we'll find out because
Yeah.
I'm going live. I'm not going to live stream it on my channel, but I'm going to react live to it by watching it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the best way to not get your stream get taken down.
Yeah.
We already know.
Yeah, I already know. I got struck once by Apple. I'll never make that mistake again.
For sure, man.
Google needs to increase their next phone's charging speed. 45 watts is kind of slow. Well, you know what? 1 hour is, to be honest with you, it's not even fully at 45 watts. A lot of charging tests done on YouTube from content creators that got a hold of the Pixel 9 Pro XL have shown that it maybe like caps out at like 36 watts, 37 watts. It doesn't reach the full 45 watts. So that's even worse. At the same time, too, I can see why they're doing that. And obviously, it's not to put so much stress on the battery. But people are people, man. Like, it shocked me. I know a guy that's got an iPhone 13 for sale. He's never replaced a battery in it, and the battery capacity is still 100%.
That's freaking crazy.
That is, but like the way that he charges the phone,
Yeah.
he never lets it get up to 100%, and he never lets it go below 45%.
Oh, wow.
So like he keeps a power bank on him, and I'm like you know, that's kind of a little extra. But
yeah, for sure. Well, yeah. I mean, I can see why. My iPhone 13 Pro, having it a couple years already, I think the battery capacity is like at 85% now. It might be lower, honestly, because I use this phone for like everything. Let me double check battery health. Oh, I'm at 82% now. Sheesh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, for sure, I end up charging it at least one time out of the day. I mean, if I'm out running errands, I just connect my phone to my car charger, obviously. But other than that, man, like the capacity for it has been very disappointing, like on this phone. But I
That's
get it.
Crazy.
Like, yeah.
My iPhone 12 is at 85%.
Wow. But did you get your second hand, or what did you get yours new?
I got mine second hand. The guy never did a battery replacement on it.
But that's still pretty good considering, because the iPhone 12 is a lot older than the iPhone 13, so it's not horrible. Better than mine.
Yeah, it was his wife's phone, and they always kept like one of those MagSafe charger banks that they just tap onto the back of it and it's
I need to get one of those.
Yeah, so I mean, they did pretty good with the battery charging on it. So it's only at 85%, and I've had the phone for like almost a year. Yeah, about what, like February next year, something like that. It'll be a year. Oh, I forgot when I got the iPhone 12. I know it's been longer than 6 months. I'll say that. It's still only at 85%. So that's not bad. But,
and you had a Pro device also, right? Which one did you have recently? Didn't you have the 11 Pro also?
Yeah, I have the 11 Pro Max. I gave it to my wife, so she's using it for Amazon Flex.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, like, iPhones I feel like are the best apps or best phones to use for like gig work, honestly.
It is, especially since she has to take pictures where she's left the package when she drops it off. It takes a photo better.
Yeah,
like,
a lot quicker.
Her Pixel 7a did the job too. Like, it took the photos really clean, where she didn't have to take multiple shots and try to get a good clear one. The only problem with the Pixel 7a during the summer is that the pixels have like a heat protection, right? You know this. Mm-hmm. It'll tell you like your functions are shutting down because the phone is too hot. And when it's like 113, 114 degrees outside and you're delivering packages, that phone will heat up and then nothing is working until it cools down. So she just went with the 11 Pro Max to just have a phone that can withstand the heat out there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that I would say if you're doing any deliveries in the heat, iPhones are better to go with.
Oh yeah, for sure. Agreed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's another thing too. So they're using the Snapdragon X75 modem. So obviously, with 5G connectivity, should be much more improved with this modem over like the Snapdragon X65 or previous ones. Looks like it's combined with sub 6 gigahertz millimeter wave 5G transceiver, takes up to 25% less circuit board space and uses up to 20% less power. That's going to be good on battery life when you're connected to 5G, because I know most people tend to disconnect 5G from their device because it kills the battery faster. So they drop to LTE just to make their battery extend longer. So this should help. That's good. That's a good move. let's see, we got Wi-Fi 7. So according to analyst Minchi Kuo, believe that the 16 Pro models could adopt the next generation Wi-Fi 7 technology, which is expected to provide speeds of at least 30 gigabits per second and could hit up to 40 gigabits per second. So that's not bad at all. USB-C
Not
port,
horrible.
obviously.
Watch, they go back to like we're gonna revert back to micro USB over here. Like what?
Yeah. And of course, everybody's favorite news when it comes to this stuff, AI.
Yeah.
So they're gonna go with AI. I hope they don't do what Google did and do like a 95% AI discussion, because I'm all AI'd out. I'll be honest. Like I can't stomach another keynote that's gonna focus on AI. Like, we get it. You guys are trying to make your thing run and be smarter, like Skynet from Terminator. I got the fucking point. Like, I just want to know what's new as far as hardware and other software features, not AI. I don't care. Like, shit, this is not anything new to me, so I don't care. What about you? Are you interested in its AI?
I mean, I barely use Siri as is. You know, I don't know what other type of AIs they want to implement, but it's like, it's one of those deals where I only really use Siri to remind myself about things like, hey Siri, remind me to buy cat food when I get out of work today or something like that. You know what I mean? Because sometimes I genuinely do forget, like, because sometimes my mom will say like, hey, I need you to buy something when I get on the way home. So I'm like, okay, like, let me remind myself, because I legit always forget. And then by the time I get home, my mom's like, where's the stuff? Like, why did you bring the stuff? I'm like, crap, I had a busy day. It just slipped my mind, so I'm camera today, guys. Sorry.
Actually, today I actually used AI other than making images or just asking it questions. I actually used it today. I got an email for a possible collaboration with the company. They create, what their product that they want me to check out and do a review on is of one of those virtual keyboards that you can use with your PC. So that you plug in the dongle into your USB port, you center this. It's like a camera.
Yeah, the ones that come out like on your desk and stuff like that.
Yeah, they want me to review that, and so. Like, I didn't feel like typing in that I'm interested in reviewing it, so it's like to give me a little bit more details of what are they thinking for the collaboration. So I actually used Gemini to make my email, and all I did was just tell it, like, create me a professional email response interested in the product, and more detail on the collaboration, what they had in mind. And it, in less than 2 seconds, it drafted me a whole 5-paragraph email of just me being interested in a product. And I was like, oh, okay, this works. And then at the very bottom, it's like the best way to contact me is via email for further discussions. Look forward to hearing back from you as well. And then I was like, send. Send it.
I would have probably deleted like half the email and just summarize this, please, or shorten the email.
You actually don't have to delete anything of it. If you really want it shorter, then you can just give it the command, condense this to a smaller response, and it'll condense it. I just left it as it was, 5 paragraphs, just literally I want these people I want to figure out if people can feel that this was naturally me or an AI response. Because if they ask me in the response if it was me that actually responded to them, then I know that they felt this wasn't genuine. But if they respond back to me without ever questioning that they were actually in touch with me, then holy crap, it did a good job. Oh my God! Well, we'll have to wait until Monday.
Wait, what time is the Apple event?
I think it's.
I might be able to join in with you before I go to work, because I think I have an afternoon shift on Monday, the 9th, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, an afternoon. Yeah. So if it's in the morning, I can probably sit in or whatever.
So it's at 10 a.m.
Oh, that's not okay. So
10 a.m. my time.
Oh snap! No, I'll be at work by then. Yeah. because that's already at 12 o'clock. So I would maybe be able to sit in for like 30 minutes and then be like, okay, see ya, gotta go.
Yeah. Well,
nah, it's all good. It's all good.
Well, I mean, we can go live later on that day when. Well, not that day because you work an afternoon shift. So you want to go live the next day and talk about it? We can on Tuesday.
Let me take a look at my schedule. Tuesday, I'm more of a midday, so it would have to be like Tuesday evening, like after like 6 o'clock my time, I guess. Yeah, so I would say 8 o'clock my time because I think that's around 6 o'clock your time. But I know you might have to pick up your kids or do stuff with your fam. So I don't know. Anytime in the evening. 6. Yeah, anytime in the evening would be good.
We could shoot it for 6 o'clock. We'll do it on your channel because like my kids get out of school. The last set of kids that get out of school, that sounds weird to say it that way, but they get out at 4 p.m. my time. Mm-hmm. So anywhere like after 4:30 p.m. my time, which would be like what? You're 2 hours ahead, so like 6:30 p.m. your time?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good anytime after that.
All right, I'll see what's up. I'll send you a DM, and I want to see if I can like find like a broken down video where I don't get like, not plagiarized, but my video taken down due to like copyright bullshit. Copyright bullshit.
What I've been doing, which I haven't gotten struck for it. So like on Restream, on the main menu where you can upload videos to put into your live stream.
Yeah.
It only gives you like a short amount of storage to do it. However, what I've done is that I've taken like videos, I've made them only like 60 seconds long, and then I have them set up to where it plays in my live stream and it loops with no sound. And that's okay. Yeah. I do stuff like that. So
you can just mute it. Yeah. Because they don't need to hear, they just need to see it,
Yeah. Or you can even just grab like still shots off the internet and just stitch them together as a slideshow video and then upload it at that and just let it cycle through the entire live stream. And, you can always do stuff like that. Actually, since I have you here, I'm actually going to talk about this. This subject is a little taboo. I'm going to forewarn you now. Some people might get triggered by what I got to say on the subject because it is slightly political, but I'm not really focusing on the political side of it. But you've heard of the recent threats that if a certain person becomes president, she intends to police social media by first making an example of wanting to ban X.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard about that?
Yeah, I've heard bits and pieces here and there. I've seen videos, but you know how social media tends to chop up, or I guess misconstrue what people are saying. And for the most part, I don't think it'll be passed, or I don't think it's gonna happen. You know what I mean? But my opinion on it is if she tries to take down X, it's you're basically trying to, and I don't think she said she was wanting to take it down, but I think she wanted them to be moderated to a certain extent, I guess, right? They want to make sure that they're following specific guidelines on things. So personally, I don't have a problem with that as long as if they're making other social media creators and stuff like that do things, like Facebook or whatever, MySpace. I don't know, people still use MySpace or whatever, but if they still make them do that. Give me 1 second, Tito. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to mute myself really quick. 1 second. I'm sorry.
So kind of piggybacking off what B-Tech said. So there's a lot of that stuff thrown around about X being banned. And, I think the reason that people are kind of coming to that resolve of it is because in Brazil, X has been banned in Brazil. And people can make speculations that that's what a certain administration is going to do when they get into the office. Look, I get that people want some form of policing done on social media, and it's just one of those things where it's if it's done where there's an opening to where one side doesn't have control. Okay, so what I mean by that is because there are people who are rushing to the defense and saying some sort of policing control of social media and what's said on social media needs to be implemented, because a lot of people's focus on it is literally trying to stop online bullying, cyberbullying, that type of jargon that a lot of us really don't care for. Like, we don't care for trolls that want to come in and start arguments and get people all upset. We don't want to deal with that. We don't want to deal with, you know, online bullying. You know, we've seen what's happened with those types of scenarios, and the outcome is never a good one. Like, and if you're coming from a place of that thought process, you know, that's a good thought process, right? The problem that I see with this is that the implementations of some sort of control over social media, of policing that goes after people and says, okay, you know what, like, you are not providing correct information, so we're going to shadow ban you, or you are not, you know, agreeing with the status quo, so we're going to shadow ban you or permanently remove you, like a full-on ban. And that's the problem. When you open up Pandora's box, right? You guys know the story of Pandora's box and what Pandora opened and what she released into the world. It's in that same context. While we want good out of this, and we can see the potential good in something such as, you know, policing social media, it depends who is behind the trigger finger, who has their finger on the button.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, no, you're good. That's where I kind of look at it from all of it. So when you're allowing something to police and secure social media, you are actually at the mercy of the person that has the finger on the button. And it's not always going to pan out the way that you think. Like, I mean, we've had this conversation before 4 years ago, and people were like, you know, they were okay with certain people being banned off Twitter. There were certain people being, you know, okay being with this person being banned off Facebook and stuff like that. So people were okay with that. But, you know, one of the things that I was always challenging mostly everybody on was, you know, if you're okay with those people being banned because you don't like what they say on social media, so you want them gone, what happens on the day when what you say is considered against the status quo, and now the finger is on the trigger for you? And see, so that's where it becomes a slippery slope. It's like, you want policing, you want control, you want cyberbullying to stop, but it always depends on who has the finger on the trigger, which is why I always say that I think that social media should stand as it is. People say whatever the hell they want to say, and sometimes other people just need to grow a set and put their big boy, big girl pants on, and not let every little thing that somebody says trigger them. It's tough, because unless you have something that you can trust to police these platforms, you could be the friend today and become the enemy tomorrow. And when the shoe is on your foot, then you're not going to like being canceled, or you're not going to like all your social accounts being destroyed because you went against the status quo. This is another form of control. Do as I say and you won't lose what you've built. That's where it becomes scary. So that was my only concern on it. As far as them banning X, I don't think they want to ban X. If they were to do anything, if that certain administration wanted to do anything to X, I think they want to take it away, because it is a very high platform. A lot of people still use it. Like, you have Threads, you have all these different platforms that have developed since Twitter and since Elon's acquisition of Twitter becoming X. But still, there's a high use of people on X. And the only reason why she wants it policed is because people are naming some of the things that she's lied about, and the way that she behaves, and the way that she's been in charge of the border, and how she's let things fall apart. That is her only reason why she's even insisting on this. It's not really for us. It's not in benefit of us, you and I, and everybody else watching here. She's not thinking of us and how we feel about certain things that we see. It's only because she's mad at this last month of posts that have pointed out all the things that she's done when she was a senator, when she was a district attorney in California. She doesn't want those things to light, and there's nothing on X that she can do, because Elon is an independent person. He's not a Republican and he's not a Democrat. He's independent. So he lets either side say what they want with no interference, as long as it's not, you know, CP, which is not allowed on the internet or on anything. You can't even really say it without getting flagged. I don't know. What do you think? Because I know that you have a valid reason on why you want social media policed. But I can tell you right now, when it comes to this administration and everything that I've seen them do and seen them say, it's in no interest of what you're wanting. It's in the interest of them shutting up people to say anything against them. So if it becomes that type of party, is that something that you're okay with?
I mean, there's so many. It's like it's such a gray area, the internet, and I hate it so much because it's like I agree with what you were saying, as far as like, oh, if you're stopping one person from saying something, and then then they end up stopping the other person from saying things, like everyone's gonna get triggered and this and that, right? I think morally, obviously, if they're going to keep things off the platform, right, it depends what, right? Because there's kids that use the platform, right? People under the age of 18, right? I would think that you don't want your son or your daughters to go on, and then they see something explicit on there, right? Which a lot of stuff is posted, videos of people getting killed, or little things here and there, right? Obviously, right? There needs to be some sort of degree, like, and again, I don't know how far Facebook goes to protect their people under the age of 18, minors using the platform, right? But I mean, anyone can literally access. They can literally lie saying, hey, you need like an ID or something to actually get on the platform, right? A lot of people maybe to a certain degree want stuff like that, right? Or at least to see certain sections of the platform, I would say, right? Because again, a lot of people can lie and say, oh, I'm over 18. Yeah, a 13-year-old kid, that's just got their first smartphone and wants to get, follow their favorite wrestler, right? But in any case, right, let's say some certain wrestlers have something leaked on the internet, right? Obviously, obviously it's going to be viewable. But that also, that goes back to, the parent and, monitoring what their kids are looking at, stuff like that, right? But not everyone does that, right? Some parents have two jobs and, they have to stick their kid in front of an iPad or a TV to keep them entertained, because, obviously it's a tough economy. People are, out there having to bust their ass to, just keep food on the table, keep a roof over their heads. So like, it's like I said, it's such a big gray area. And like me personally, like, I mean, I don't have any kids, right? So I think for me, as long as like my freedom of speech is not infringed, right? I'm not gonna go on there threatening other parties, saying like, hey Tito, sorry man, I hate Android, man. So I'm gonna spill all this hate. I'm gonna spill all this hate for people that use Android, and anyone that uses Android, they're gonna be banned or blocked on my X account, right? Stuff like that, right? It's just real stupid. You know what I mean? But I mean, that goes back to
I have an idea, so let me pick your brain on this, and let me know what you think of my idea. So, like, I don't trust a government agency or even a private sector of having the control to govern people's social media accounts to ban them if they've broken rules or anything like that. But however, addressing to what you said, because that's a very good point. There are things on social platforms that you don't want your children to see. Like, my thing is that my kids don't have X. They don't have Snapchat. They don't have TikTok. The only social media platform they have is Instagram. And that's it. But even then, things can slightly pop up on
Would
Instagram.
you consider YouTube a social platform, though?
Yeah, I would. I'd consider it a social platform. And they do have YouTube accounts. That's what they have also as well. So I guess two accounts is what they have. And then they're on Discord, and they use Discord for chatting. So that's it.
No, Discord is also a very X-ish type app. Yeah, it's very public, but you can literally find Discords on anything, any subject, any topic, or any type of group, basically, right? So you have to be careful on Discord also, just because, again, I don't really think they monitor as much as they should on apps like X and Discord, of course. But again, again, I'm not a parent, so it's hard for me to say. But go ahead and finish. I'm sorry, I kind of interrupted.
Oh no, it's fine you made that point, because people need to know that too. Those that don't know what Discord is or have never really used Discord, because I use Discord right now. That's just because my kids will answer my messages faster than they will if I text their phone. They're always on Discord with their friends. So, but my idea is, because how like Facebook, Instagram, X, they have the verification with a check mark, and one of the ways to be verified is obviously a submission of a form of ID to validate your identity. What I was thinking is that there should be, the verification should now broaden itself into a tier. A free version, which you're just really verifying your age, by using identification to say that you're an adult. And then the rest of the verifications is if you want to get the extra benefits, right? And you start paying for those. But the reason why I say to verify with an ID is if your kid tries to verify with their school ID, they're not able to gain what I would consider to be full access to the social platform. So like if you're not a verified account, then anything that's considered basically PG, monitored by the social platforms developers themselves, that's all you'll have access to. So like the regular the tweets about like, oh yeah, you know, this is a movie I went to go see, or my favorite comic book, or does this look good on a pizza? Like you'll see those things, but like anything that's like explicit, you won't have access to unless your account is verified, but verified by an age verification. I think that's something that they should start implementing in social media. Yes, it's not 100% foolproof, but then that's where the responsibility of how a child access something completely falls back to the parent. Because if that kid hijacked his mom's ID card and created a Twitter account under his mom's name and took a picture and everything, it would be her fault for allowing her identification to be grabbed by her child. It wouldn't be the social platform's fault of this child seeing something explicit, like someone unaliving or, you know, XXX rated. They won't see anything like that because their account is not verified to access that dimension. Kind of like how the internet and the dark web is. The internet is indexed, so we can search anything with a .com, .org, .edu. But if you wanted to go into the dark web, you need an onion browser and you need to know the full URL of the site you're going to. And it doesn't end in a .com or anything like that because it's not indexed. And I think that's what they should do, is allow an indexed version to be available to anybody, and then a non-indexed version be accessible to age verified. What do you think of that?
I mean, I don't disagree. You know, I think that there needs to be some sort of structure when it comes to, you know, who can access what, obviously, right? You know, but like you said, like your kid could easily, you know, let's say you take a nap one day and you leave your wallet out on the countertop of the kitchen or something like that. Your son or daughter, whoever, right, can just grab it really quick. It literally takes 5 minutes, like less than 5 minutes, to take a picture of the ID. And then, of course, you know, say that basically they're just faking being you, right? And they just make, you know, a whatever account name, obviously, using some random email that they made, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, so many people can lie and fake about these things, but again, like you said, that goes back to the parent, like monitoring and seeing, you know, what's happening on the child's device, etc., like that. Which, you know, obviously there's implementations for that already, but still.
That puts the responsibility back on the parents, which, you know, honestly, people can hate me when I say this, but that's part of the reason why we have the generation that we have today with these young ones, is because we do have generation of parents that are like, take this iPhone and shut up and get out of my sight. They don't care what their kid accesses on the iPhone. So making a parent responsible for their child's actions is something that needs to be, as of, I don't know if you've been following what happened out there in Houston, but the kid involved.
The young girl.
The parent was arrested for basically purchasing the weapon and allowing their child to have the weapon, which I think. Oh yeah. I think that you know, so other people are against it that I've read about. I agree that parent should be arrested, because what your child does as a parent, you're responsible for. Yeah. My daughter goes out and stabs a girl in the school in the eye with a pencil. I'm the one that's got to go to court. I'm the one that's going to have to pay the medical bills, not my daughter. So making parents responsible for every aspect of what their child does and accesses, I think that needs to be implemented back in, which will then take a lot of these kids that think they can do whatever they want. It'll bring them back down to a place I like to call Earth. Remind them that they can't do whatever they want, because, you know, it just that breeds such a toxic environment. And we've seen what's happened today with these live streamers who go and troll people and do. Some kids just want to grow up so fast, and I think that's what's. I hate to say that's what's wrong with today's society. And like, I mean, when I was a kid, I don't remember wanting to grow up so fast. Obviously, you know, there's things that you can and can't do as an adult, obviously, right? But like, let me give you an example of what happened recently in the area where I live, right? Not too long ago, right before school started, there was, you know, something happened with a senior kid at one of our local high schools where they went to a party
that was it was basically like a big invite through Snapchat, I believe. These kids, they ended up, it was only supposed to be a few kids. It ended up being a really big party at someone's house, right? Obviously there was alcohol involved, and these kids were jumping off the roof into a swimming pool. One of the kids, he slipped off the roof and he landed on his head basically, and unfortunately the kid didn't make it. He ended up passing away after a couple of days due to his injuries, right? And again, this was like a 17-year-old senior kid going to the high school that I went to basically. And again, that goes back to, are your parents monitoring what your kids are doing? If you're a mom or a dad, and if you would have saw something like that, are you going to let your kid go to this, back to school pool party? And then again, unfortunately the alcohol was distributed by an adult, the adult that was, the owner of the house. And that guy is now getting prosecuted for obviously child endangerment, giving alcohol to minors, obviously. And of course, you can't bring the kid back, the kid's gone already. But it's like, being how bad do the parents feel, first of all, because, something so simple could be prevented, right, from happening, right? Just as something as simple as saying, no, you can't go to this party because I don't know who's going to be there. I don't, again, right? Who's chaperoning the party, etc., like that, right? Do you know who the house that they're going to, right? Little things like that. Some people hate protective parents, right? But sometimes parents are overprotective for a reason. And I feel like that's a good example of why maybe younger kids shouldn't have access to some social media platforms. And I guess it's different for us, right? Because we didn't have to worry about that, right, when we were young, because there wasn't social media back in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, our social media was in the places of gatherings, right? Like malls, parks, things like that. That was our social media. So we were never really on the phone.
They would drop us off at the mall. Like I would get dropped off at the movie theaters with friends, or if I were to go to a friend's house, right? Which I wasn't a bad kid, right? I had like a kind of like a group of friends that was maybe less than like 5 people, less than 10 people, obviously. But it's like I never wanted to drink growing up when I was in high school. There was times I was offered alcohol and drugs like weed. I always said no. You know what I mean? Just because that was my personal preference, right? I don't want to do it. But of course, obviously as a kid, you're going to be exposed to stuff like that in high school. You go to the restroom, there's people selling, whatever in the restroom, right? So it's like, there's only so many things you can do as a parent, obviously, but it's like, you have to also be able to trust your child. And I think that's what's hard today compared to maybe something like 20 years ago, I think.
Yeah. So, me being a parent and everything, I can kind of really kind of just drop on that. Like I am an overprotective parent. I won't shy away from that. Like my daughters don't stay the night at their friends' houses. They don't meet up with their friends at the park and go hang out. My daughter's everyday life is basically get up, breakfast, get ready, go to school. They come home, they stay home. And then on the weekends, they just wait for when I plan for going to the movies or going out to the park or, going out to dinner. And that's really all the time that they get to go out. But my city is so badly fucked up. I can't let my kids go. Even when I go to walk them, they go to school 3 blocks away from where I live. And I walk every day to go pick them up, and we walk home together. And even then, I'm not gonna lie to anybody. I carry with me. I open carry.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that at all.
Because in my city, we are one of the cities that has the highest rates of human trafficking.
Yeah,
children. So, and my kids, they know what the plan is. They know there's 8 different ways to get home from this small ass neighborhood we live in. They already know all the 8 ways to get home and how to get home and what happens if we get attacked, and if I'm subdued trying to protect them, they're not to sit and watch me fight off guys or try to do anything. Their job is to take the key and go home and barricade themselves into the house. And they even I won't openly say what it is because I don't need nobody to know it, but they even know what my verbal codes are to let them know if I make it back home, should they open the door for me or not. And so they know what that is. But I live my life that way because I cannot deal with anything bad happening to my daughters. Even thinking about it kind of already starts to choke me up, and then my anger starts to rise because I'm already in that mode that I want to protect them. but I have to live that with my kids, because today, the way that things are, the kids are so open to so much things on the internet that people don't really realize. They get these crazy ideas because they see it on TikToks, they see it on fucking Instagram Reels, and they think it's okay to do that. So my daughter right now, my oldest daughter, I had posted this on Facebook. I think Gene was commenting to it. You know, he was trying to find out what was going on. I was really pissed off at the school, you know, so much is because like my oldest daughter is still childlike. So she's kind of a loner right now, which is why like on some days, like I usually do like a live stream and then for like an hour, then I get off, is because she's going to end up calling me because she talks to me on her lunch break. No one really hangs out with her because she's not into the gang mentality, which this neighborhood pretty much is like plagued with. So she's not able to kick it with those people. And then the popular people don't want to kick it with her because she's not about dressing up, you know, kind of slutty-ish. You know, she's still into her cinnamon roll character t-shirts and sweatpants, and you know, she's still about her anime. Like all she ever thinks about is, you know, coming home watching anime, whether she's watching Demon Slayer, Bleach, or whatever, you know, my oldest son watches too. And so she's still a kid. She's lost a lot of her friends that have tried that, you know, what you said, they're trying to grow up so fast, you know, don the makeup, try to look like they're freaking 21 when they're only 12 or 13.
I think that's it.
And my daughter's way, you know, away from that. And the only friend that she had, she ended up losing last year because that friend has an attraction to her beyond friendship. And my daughter doesn't identify that way. And she tried to be nice about it and tell the girl, like, I don't see you in that way. So now that friend had flipped on her and has been literally bugging my daughter since the end of last year and into the beginning of this school year, has been threatening to fight her and all these things. And now that my youngest daughter goes to the same school, my youngest daughter's the aggressive one. So like, I had to go to the school because the school's like, yeah, you know, the same problem's happening with that girl and your youngest daughter flipped them off. And I'm like, God, I'm looking at my daughter like, why? Why did you flip them off? You're just making them like their attention draw more to you guys. Like, my youngest daughter wants to fight that girl so badly. She actually wants to fight that girl and her sister. And I'm like trying to tell her, like, you don't go looking for a fight. Like, I don't care if you fight and defend yourself. I will never be mad at you for that. But if you go looking for the fight, now we have a problem.
Yeah.
So I was pissed because the way the school wanted to handle it, they're like, oh, we're going to have a mediation. I'm like, you're not going to mediate anything. My daughter's not attracted to that girl. That girl needs to get over it, you know? So I was pissed. And Gene was just like, he was like, I read all his comments. God bless Gene. I love him. I was reading all his comments. I know he was just trying to calm me down, but I was pissed.
Well, that's understandable. I mean, because, you know, if someone's harassing your kid, it's like, you know, obviously you can't be there in school with them all day and protect your child, right? What's happening, you know, during, you know, recess hours or, you know, during those free periods. So it's understandable, man. I can understand that. Like, I mean, it's just so interesting, like growing up, right? Like it's different for everybody, man. But I mean, hopefully, you know, she doesn't have to deal with that. Hopefully the second party doesn't have, you know, realizes like, hey, I'm being stupid about this or something. Cause you know, obviously your daughter, if she doesn't identify that way and the girl doesn't stop bothering her, then, you know, you don't want to have to go through legal routes, right, in order to make that stop, basically.
Yeah. That's the other reason why that we're moving in December to Oklahoma. Like, I've already there's like 4 or 5 houses. In the next like month or so, I got to drive all the way out there to actually see the houses before we start doing the paperwork and the purchase process. But yeah, I've already been on the ball for it. My wife has already done like 8 interviews at different companies for work. So like, yeah, this December we are moving to Oklahoma. We're getting out of the city.
Yeah, that's crazy. But hey, man, I mean, you're doing it for your family and you know, to protect your children, obviously, right? And plus I mean, obviously I know you're getting closer to your father out there. So yeah, so that's good.
Yeah, I haven't told my dad yet. And like, thankfully, you know, what he does on a day-to-day basis keeps him busy. He doesn't watch my podcast very often. So he doesn't know, like, of the 4 potential houses that I'm looking to buy, one of them is 5 houses down from him.
Nice.
I was telling my wife, I was like, if we decide to get that house 5 houses down from him, I'm not gonna tell him that I'm moving nearby. I'm just gonna move in, and one morning when I know he's about to go to work, I'm gonna go outside with my cup of coffee and yell at him and wave from him down the road. I just want to get his reaction.
I'm sure he's gonna notice somebody moving in a couple houses down. You can't. I don't think you can hide. Yeah,
he'll know someone moved in, but he won't know it's me.
Right.
Not until I say hi.
I guess so. Just wear a mask the entire time so that he doesn't recognize you.
My wife was like, get the kids enrolled in school, and then one day after school, let him walk to his house and ring his doorbell. Because he's got one of those Ring doorbells. I'm like, that would probably give him more of a heart attack, because his first question would be like, where are your parents? Type of thing.
What are you doing here? We're backpacking.
But
we took the bus. We took the bus.
Actually, it's such a small town. There is no public bus in that town. It's so small. But to me, it's perfect though, because I think my kids are more excited in the fact that the town I grew up in. I didn't grow up in that town, but I lived there for a time when I was like 18, 19, and things are still pretty much the way that they are back then today. So a lot of the atmosphere towards the holiday seasons, like Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, the people in that town really, really participate in that. So
of course
they will get the creepy Halloween decorations all across houses all over town when they're trick-or-treating, and it looks spooky too at night with all the dead leaves on the ground from the cold air killing the leaves. That you just get that spooky atmosphere, man. Which I know my youngest daughter, she's. Oh my God, dude! I saw this movie. I gotta tell you this real quick. I said it yesterday on the podcast, but
no spoilers. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Have you ever? It's not a new movie. It's been out for a while. It's actually like one of those documentary movies. But have you ever seen the documentary movie called Demon House?
No, I have not.
All right, so it's a documentary movie. The guy that made the documentary, he had a TV show on the Travel Channel about paranormal ghost hunting. Mm-hmm. And so he's heard about the famous demon house in Gary, Indiana, and he ends up buying it because he wants to investigate it. And me and my kids watched it the other day, and the very first opening of the movie is a warning on the screen. So black screen with those warnings, and then it tells you what the warning is about. And in that warning, it literally says that per demonologists' beliefs, that even watching that movie could invite like the entity they're talking about. It can invite it to attach to you just for watching it through the movie. And I was like sitting there like, should I continue on? Because I don't want nothing attached to myself or my kids, but my daughter's like, yes, let's watch it.
Oh gosh.
So we watched the whole thing, and it freaked me the fuck out. Like, it's not spooky like jump scares, but it became spooky because like when he talked about somebody that used to be on his TV show who was like a medium, tried to make contact with the demon in the house remotely from her house with her husband, and then she ended up passing away like 2 or 3 weeks later after that attempt by the husband unaliving her and then unaliving himself. I think that's how it went. I don't fully remember, but I was like thinking like it was like Blair Witch, so I went on Google to fact check it, and then it's on fucking Fox News, MSNBC. It's real.
Oh wow.
And I was just freaking out every step of the way of watching that documentary, because everything that I wanted to fact check ended up being like on a publication that people would technically trust, even though some of those are not trustworthy as far as political news, but regular news like that, like someone passing away, or obviously it's real journalism on that. And I'm like, I'm freaking flabbergasted on just everything that they're talking about. And then what happened to the guy at the end, I guess the very end of the document, he was like, he had basically pushed all his camera people away. He's like, he didn't want them in the house anymore. The last part of his investigation was he boarded up all the windows, including the front door, and locked himself in that house. And he says at the end, it was like 12:18 a.m. in the midnight. Whatever that was in that house, that entity made itself known to him, like visible to him, and almost costed him his eyesight. Like nowadays he has to wear prism glasses because he has double vision, and it's permanent damage after what he saw that entered the room and attacked him. And now he has to wear prism glasses for the rest of his life. Corrective surgery is not a possibility because it will just end up making him go blind. And I'm like, this is like, I looked at my daughters. I'm like, this is the reason why if someone says this house is haunted, just take their fucking word for it and go away. Like, don't investigate nothing.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go to a haunted house, like knowingly that it's haunted. I don't know.
Yeah, because like he reached out to the two, I think it was two families that lived in that house before him. He reached out to one of them that couldn't talk to him because a movie production company was already talking to them and wanted them silent to anybody else, which was the production company that made the movie called The Deliverance, was based on the family that lived in that house and what they went through of demonic possession. And then a woman that lived in there before that family came to visit that house. She went in with her children, and when they left the house, the teenage daughter became aggressive towards everybody, threatening to kill them 3 weeks later. And then she inflicted the stigmata wounds on her wrist and then tried to unalive herself. And I'm like, oh, let me see if that really happened. And I Google search it, and it's on the damn news, dude. I'm like, whoa. Wow. So, yeah. It's like my youngest daughter wants to find La Llorona. I'm like, you're on your own. I'm not going out there for that. Like, my daughter's obsessed with the demonic possessions and stuff like that. And I'm like, you keep being interested in that, and you're going to invite something to you that you don't want there.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a fascination, but I feel like, and I don't know if this is just me or not. Like I've noticed that girls are into like those like either ghost stories or like, you know, those murder mystery shows, you know, like, or like stuff like watching like Forensic Files. I'm like, why do people like watching stuff like that? I mean, I get it, like, you know, like, you know, I mean, it gives you some sort of aspect to why people do things, I guess, right? You know, like that what was that Netflix series with what's his face, that the guy with the glasses, I forget the guy's name, but the one that like killed people, like all these people. I don't know if he ate them or not, but
are you talking about the series that talked about Dahmer?
Yeah, Dahmer. Yeah, Jeffrey Dahmer. Yeah, it's like, you know, like why I don't like that type of stuff, is because it's like you're kind of glorifying what they did, even though like it, you know, it's happened and it's a real thing, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, you're putting eyes on people that did horrible things, and horrible things were done to innocent people, basically, right?
Oh,
and that,
dude.
Imagine how traumatizing that is for the families that had to go through that, and then, you know, stuff like that goes up, right? You know what I mean? Like, it's just like crazy. To me, that's just crazy. You know what I mean? And it's like, you know, I get like you go to like, you know, the movies and watch like a horror movie, right? Like a fictional horror movie, though, right?
Yeah, like werewolves, vampires, and shit like
exactly, shit like that. You know, or Jason or Freddy, right? You know, you don't know that
slasher
shit's gonna go down, right? Slasher films, right? Alien versus Predator, Alien, whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah.
But it's like once it gets to like the real stuff, and like, you know, documentary on this person, or, you know, a movie based on this person's life, and, you know, why they became a killer and who they killed and how they started killing people, like that's like a whole different like level of stuff that I just don't like watching. I guess I'm not comfortable watching stuff like that, honestly.
Yeah, plus you also got to think the younger generation and how they adapt to things today. Like today, they don't look at those things as like, okay, you know, we need to stay away from people like that. Like younger kids today look at that and be like, oh, I need to replicate something like that. Like they like you said, it's glorified that they think they'll get internet famous if they do something similar. So that, to me, that just breeds more of that craziness. And yeah, I agree with you. That's why, like, when I saw that movie, I was just like, my daughter's like, oh, we could watch it again. I'm like, no, this is not going in our horror movie rotation. Like, that's it, one and done. I'm not watching it again. I'm not even trying to deal with that stuff, you know, because like, I don't know, it's very too weird. But I just wanted to kind of share that because it was kind of creepy and weird. But shifting tracks, man. I want to spend a little bit of time on this subject, and I know you got a lot to talk about on this. Bash at Berlin, man.
Yeah, we can talk a little bit about that before I step out, because I do gotta go in like maybe like 10-15 minutes already. But you know, I think, you know, for what the pay-per-view was, it was entertaining. You know, I mean, I think like I love the fact that they're kind of going overseas for these smaller pay-per-views, because first of all, like, you know, obviously the crowds are just 10 times better than American crowds, right? They're so much more into it. Even if the matches aren't that great, right? At least the fans, you can tell that they're into it, right? Compared to like, if they were to be here, like, in whatever city, Tennessee or whatever, where, I feel like the American fans are just overstimulated, and they just, we're so used to seeing American style WWE wrestling, I guess.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, for what it was though, decent pay-per-view. I enjoyed it. I missed half of it, unfortunately, because I was at work the first like hour and a half. But I mean, for the most part, I know I didn't miss. I know I didn't miss much. So.
Yeah, it was a very good pay-per-view. I think what spawned out of it, and it's so funny. Like, I know my oldest daughter's gonna kill me now because I'm about to break her secret. But like, she is right now heavy as a Rhea fan, and she's hoping that Rhea and Jay get together because of all the little hints that's starting to be dropped. And I'm looking at her, I'm like, oh, you're really buying into the storyline. She's like, it's a story. I'm like, don't forget, Rhea's married in real life. Jay's not her husband.
It's like you're breaking kayfabe over here, and you're revealing to her that she's married in real life.
Oh, she was so into it. She was so into it watching the match between the Terror Twins and Dominic and Liv, which was very interesting that they didn't put Dominic and Liv over.
Yeah,
so like, to me, I think the end game is Dominic and Liv going over at some point, just because they didn't get the win on this one. It was like, when I saw the Judgment Day interfere, I was like, oh no, this is how they're gonna get their victory, And I would have, like, if they won and they won that way, it would have been cool. But then to see the Terror Twins overcome that without any help, like, my daughter thought Jey Uso was gonna come out. He didn't come out.
I was surprised because he didn't really have a spot he didn't have any matches or anything in the live event. So I was just like, okay, if that doesn't happen, then we're gonna definitely probably see it like on Monday Night Raw, which we did, right? He was already saying like, there's been kind of, like you said, subtle hints and things, and I don't think they showed it on air on Raw, but I think he showed up after, or something happened at the end where Rhea showed up like after the event, and she was like out there with Jey Uso and
she did the yeet. Yeah,
so she did the yeet.
She was already out at ringside because, like, right before the match ended, remember, she came out and chased Liv away because Liv got involved. And then she chased her away with the crutch, trying to whip her ass with it. And then she stayed at ringside. So when Jey Uso got the pin from the Uso splash, after Raw went off the air, she got in the ring, and then that's when she did the whole yeet thing, which I thought was pretty cool. And even the did you see the TikTok that her and Damien had after the whole freaking Bash at Berlin thing, where they were eating chicken tenders?
Oh no, I didn't see that one.
If you find it on TikTok, it's funny. So like, they're chilling it back at the hotel. They're eating a plate of chicken tenders with ranch sauce, and then
oh my god,
fucking Damien, man, he's all
they're
like
trolling Dom big time.
They're trolling him, and then she says something, and then she says yeet, and then freaking Damien laughs, and he stops and he looks at her and he's like, what is it with you and guys and mullets? And she's like, she looks at him, she's like, that's just my thing. And it's like, like, oh my god, how does Buddy feel about this? Like, if Buddy cuts his hair into a mullet, like, oh my god, man, it's my daughter's eating that storyline up. She's like, her top favorite stories right now is the Rhea, Jey Uso, Dominic Liv scenario, the Wyatt 6. She's waiting for Nikki Cross to finally get her in-ring debut as Abigail the Witch. And then she's very hyped up on the Bloodline on SmackDown, and she's hyped up on Jey Uso and Braun Breaker. She really thinks that Jey Uso is going to dethrone Braun Breaker as the Intercontinental Champion.
That'll be a good feud, but I think Braun Breaker is still going to go over against Jey Uso. If he does lose, then that'll be interesting that they take the strap off of him that quickly. But to me, it's like, okay, like, Jey Uso's the veteran, right? He's been there for so long, like, 15 plus years already in the company, probably. And it's like, for him to not have a singles title at this point is just, to me, crazy, because he's probably one of the top 5 over people on Raw, right? So it's like, and what I love about WWE right now is that, like, there's so many stars that are over currently, right? Not just like one, like, if this was the Vince McMahon era, if this was the Vince McMahon era, I think, back then they really only focused on the World Heavyweight title. They forgot about everybody else, right? So, the undercard and the midcard was kind of lackluster. But it's like now pretty much I feel like it's going back to the era where it's like every portion of the show is important now, right? And it's like you don't want to miss, the beginning or the middle or the end, because they don't always start with like the undercard anymore. Sometimes they start with like whoever's on the top of the card, guys like Cody Rhodes, guys like Gunther. They start them at the beginning of the show, and they really focus on people that are they're trying to develop now. And I think that's what I've been enjoying a lot. Guys like Bronson Reed. They're going back to guys like Braun Strowman. On Raw, Chad Gable again with with his feud against the Wyatt Six, right? Which again, not to knock on you, I know you love the Wyatts and the Wyatt Six. I'm not sold on Uncle Howdy.
They did a couple of things that I wouldn't have done. Like I wouldn't have put Uncle Howdy in a debut match just yet.
For me, it's like just for me, I don't know why. Just him, it's not the same, right? You're not gonna get the same that you did with Bray. Bray was a different character. He was a different breed, like altogether, right? The guy, he knew how to talk, and he knew how to control the crowd with his emotion. And when he was also the Fiend, right, he didn't have to say a damn thing when he was in the ring, but his body language said everything, right? So it's like it's a different character, it's a different person, and I get it. You're trying to pay homage to your brother by continuing something that maybe he started, right? But it just, to me, it doesn't have the same feel. And they're not really giving us a lot of information about these new people, right? Again, I mean, obviously we know who Nikki Cross is, we know who Eric Rowan is, obviously, because he was with the original Wyatts back then, right? But I want to know like who they are as as characters, not just people that are holding axes or big hammers that are just kind of there to beat people down when stuff happens, right? I want to know their characters. I want to know why they are the way they are. I want to know why they're involved and they're there with Uncle Howdy. I need to see more. I need to hear more, right? Obviously, long-term story. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like they're being booked as faces right now, which is stupid because like Chad Gable is the heel in this. Him and American Alpha 2.0 or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, like, I wouldn't mind them being heels in the first place. Like, I don't think they should be booked as faces. I think honestly, like both should have been heels, but like the Wyatt Six, keeping that moniker, they're going after families that betray family. And it didn't matter if you were heel or face, but like them doing it in a way where it's not because the face doesn't work with them right now. I think that's what the beauty was with Bray. Like Bray was a heel. And when Bray, and the Wyatt family ended up facing, the Shield just coming off from being heels and becoming faces, but it was still fresh in people's minds that the Shield kind of had a heel tactic to them. So it was like heel against heel, but it was really about like which faction was dominant. I think that should have been what was portrayed. This whole face thing doesn't work, in my opinion. It won't work unless they solidify themselves as not being a heel or a face and just doing what they want. Like they're now attacking American Made, and then out of nowhere they pull a 180 and also start attacking Alpha Academy. That would be like a good switch up, and just kind of like going after families that are false families and just making it about that for now until they start to actually really build a personal storyline with somebody. I think that's what they should have done.
I can see them doing that. Like I can see them also like feuding with like the Judgment Day also, right? Maybe Uncle Howdy and Finn Balor. Because like I know right now the top feud on Raw is like Judgment Day versus Rhea and Damian Priest, but like how far can they take that, right? Obviously, Liv and Dom they're gonna piss a lot of people off, but it's like, okay, like what do they have for the rest of the Carlito? You have Finn Balor, you have Janie McDonuts over here, whatever his name is.
Janie McDonuts.
We got to see more from these characters. I feel so upset with Carlito because it's like a lot of people were hyped when he came back, and then he's just been kind of like in like managerial / secondary roles.
Yeah, like what the fuck was up with that?
It's just he looked so good when he came back. Also, I was like, man, dude, he bulked up. He looks like he was in great shape, and now look at him. He's just back to wearing like the muscle tees, and it looks like his arms got smaller. Again, I know he has probably injuries on his shoulder because you see him taped up a lot of the times. But
Yeah.
it's like, man, dude, it's like, they really dropped the ball there. Like, I was really hoping that they would throw him into some sort of like championship, title contendership, whether it be like the
Yeah.
U.S. title or like,
Yeah, he could feud with LA Knight, and I think he would give LA Knight like a good run for
yeah,
a title feud. You know what I mean? Like put him back on SmackDown. They don't need to put him with Legado de Fantasma. They don't need to put him with the LWO or the Judgment Day. Let Carlito be on his own. Get the damn apple again. He spits in the face of people who are not cool, and let him do his thing. And they so dropped the ball on him. You know, they dropped the ball on a lot of things recently, but hopefully they know how to bounce back from it, especially when it goes to Netflix and the PG era is lifted, according to Stephanie McMahon. Shout out to Stephanie.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see how that goes. I mean, I'm not sold on the PG era dying just yet. Even when they go back to Netflix, I can see more blood, and stuff happening on the show, because we've kind of already been seeing that already on the USA Network. I mean, it's very minimal, but like, with Drew McIntyre and CM Punk, right? Which I think that was the best match of the night as far as Bash at Berlin goes.
He got his bracelet back.
He got his bracelet back, and then you saw what happened on Monday. Again, McIntyre attacks again. We're starting to see things happen more where it's more of a blood feud now, and maybe a hate feud, right? Obviously, this is like, to me, it's like it's probably going to be feud of the year as far as WWE goes. But like with that, it's like I never once thought like, okay, if CM Punk returns, who is he going to feud with, right? We all thought it was going to be Seth Rollins. No, it's Drew McIntyre.
And it's actually
never thought that, and it's so good because Drew McIntyre, he's at a point in his career where he just doesn't give a fuck, and I think that's what's making it so good for him now, because he had to play second fiddle to guys like Roman Reigns and other people for the first couple of years back on his main roster debut, right? And he went to WrestleMania, he won the title, and then it was kind of just like, okay, like him as a face just really wasn't that fun and interesting, but him as a heel, oh my god, it's like it's so fun to watch, and it's so fun to hear him on the mic and trolling people on the internet, posting pictures of himself and Jack Perry.
He's a good heel. I'll give him this, and I think the reason why it's working for him being a heel is because he's not doing the coward heel tactics. Not so much. Maybe like once here and there just to get on people's nerves, but he's not using it as an everyday thing. But it's his main strike at CM Punk is striking what fans who don't like CM Punk for. He's hitting with those remarks. He's hitting with once again, the spotlight is all about you, and fans that don't like CM Punk say that all the time. This guy's arrogant. He thinks everything is about him, and so that's why it's like he has a gathering that's following behind him, itching to see him beat the shit out of CM Punk, and you got the rest of the fans that love CM Punk. So it's like it's a beautiful heel that Drew's got going on, and I love when he keeps attacking Larry and AJ into the equation. Your ugly, stupid dog, Larry, and your wife, like they're on my corner. Like, oh my god. Beautiful.
Yeah, and there's a lot of speculation that we still might see AJ Lee return, which, now that you mentioned that, right, I would love to see Larry and like AJ Lee backstage at one point where, all this stuff happening where Drew McIntyre, he's been very, very verbal about talking about CM Punk's personal life and his wife and his dog, right? But it's like, he forgets that AJ Lee, is a multi-time former women's champion. She was in the business, former GM, on Monday Night Raw, right? So, and probably one of the best female talkers of her era, right? If not the best talker, maybe not the biggest and the strongest, but obviously she was champion for a really long time. And just seeing her, go back and kind of help, hubby out and interfere, in the matches, maybe, causing Drew to lose, right? That would be so fun to watch. I'm like, oh my god. I mean, I'm positive that this is going to lead to a match to WrestleMania next year. Like, this is going to be one of those. It's going to be a feud that drags. We might see a Hell in the Cell match, right? At Bad Blood, and I think that's where it's probably going to lead. I don't think it's going to end there, though. I think it's going to continue on, which obviously, right? If you're a fan of the Attitude Era, I don't think there's one match that I can say, oh, this was like the best fucking match I saw during that time, right? What I remember was feuds, right? Rock and Austin, right? Yeah. Those were like that. That was the feud back in the day. HBK, right? Bret Hart, HBK and Bret Hart. You know, the list
HBK,
goes on,
Triple
right?
H.
You know, HBK, Triple H with like a bunch of people, right, coming up, right? Obviously, Triple H feuded with like everybody. Same thing, right? You know, going to the Ruthless Aggression era. You know, you had Randy Orton, John Cena. You know, you had feuds that people remember, and that's what I'm loving about this era now, is that we're getting that, and you know, we're starting to see, okay, yeah, like now I can say like, hey, you know, Rhea versus, you know, Liv Morgan, that dragged out for like a year, but that was so good, right? You know,
Yeah.
or CM Punk versus Drew, right? You know, and man, I feel bad. I honestly feel bad for AEW now, because like, imagine, you know, if CM Punk would have stayed, and what, I mean, maybe, you know, their Saturday show, their B show could have, you know, did a little bit of something, right, rather than it be now. But it's like, I'm so shocked that Tony Khan sided with, you know, the stupid Bucks, and you know, the ratings continue to drop, even though they have such high profile wrestlers like Mercedes Moné, Will Ospreay. You know, Kenny Omega is out, obviously, due to, you know, his stomach issues, or whatever you want to call it. But it's like, you know, the wrestling is still so good in the company, but like the stories, and just nobody cares about the feuds that are happening, because they're just so thrown together at times that they don't make sense. You know, even though the wrestling is supposed to tell the story, right? You know, if we're having great matches, then people are just going to watch, right? No, that's not the case. You know, so anyways, that's my little gripe about AEW.
Yeah. But anyways, man, I think we can tap more into this if you. I don't know if you want to do a live stream on the Deathlock podcast anytime soon, man. I think I'm saving a lot of what I want to say for that show.
Well, if you're free tonight, maybe after like 9 o'clock tonight, after SmackDown, maybe. I don't know if you're busy tonight. If not, I the afternoon this weekend I work mostly afternoon shifts, so we can set something up for that maybe. But tonight I'm off today, so.
Tonight sounds good, because I'm not doing anything else tonight. Let me see.
All right, sorry, I had to mute myself because I was sneezing.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, tonight we should be good on that. I'm not doing any Amazon Flex deliveries tomorrow. Okay. This weekend I am. I'm doing 2 tomorrow and then 2 on Sunday. So,
are you able to book ahead of time on that, like a day or two ahead? Or oh wow, okay.
Yeah, you can book a week ahead.
You can. I know you can schedule blocks, but I had access to it for a while, and then I just never did it, because like the Amazon warehouse where I live is like on the opposite side of town, and I just don't want to drive all the way to the south side. It's like maybe like an 8-mile drive from where I'm at my house. So I'm just like, I don't want to be wasting gas, you know what I mean? So I'm just like, I just never did it, you know?
Oh yeah, no, you can grab blocks that are ahead, like you know, a week ahead. You also get specific ones assigned to you, so like you'll get notified, like, you know, on this date from this time to this time, and they're gonna pay you like 180 or 150.
Dang, bro! I wish they paid that much down here.
So actually, you can, like, so if I mean, you have to do like delivery blocks. I think it was like a month that we did ours, and then we started getting like specific ones sent to us rather than having to look for them. But like, here's a key trick: if you ever want to make like big dollars on Amazon Flex, I wouldn't. If you're like, say if you're gonna go today, I wouldn't schedule anything today just yet. What I would do is I would drive and be like right at the facility, sit in the parking lot, and then see what comes up. Because there's people who cancel, like they'll cancel a block they scheduled themselves to do, and so when that block comes back available, they have to find somebody fast to do it. So if they were offering $80 at first for that 4-hour block, and the person canceled, now that $80 block becomes $125. Yeah. And if you're right there at the facility and it becomes available and you snatch it really quickly, then you're right there to check in and take the block.
Yeah. And I guess that's cool. I guess like in my market, from what I remember, like I would only see like $40 to $60 3-hour blocks, maybe 4-hour blocks, but it's like I never saw anything higher than like $60 or $70. But again, that, you know, it's a different demographic. You're in a more heavily populated area than I am, right? So, and the thing is, like I feel like the gig market where I am, it's very oversaturated. So I mean, you know, I mean, I know that's everywhere, right? Because people need money, people need jobs, but like, you know, I don't know. I need to see if I can maybe try to get back into it, because like I'm depending too much on Walmart Spark. And you know, now that I have my little car, my vehicle is more gas economical, so you know, I can take advantage of, you know, doing those 30 to 50 mile you know, delivery blocks, I guess, you know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for the advice. Sheesh.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll go ahead and end it now. If you want to get that live stream later tonight set up,
Yeah, I'll send you a DM.
Yep, we'll get on there, and then join the San Joaquin Valley later on tonight. So check the Deathlock Podcast channel to find out exactly when we're going live, and then you can join us on there and spread the good word so other people can come watch. Like Gene, wherever the hell he is.
Genie, he's probably at work.
Get Mills on there too. On the
Oh God, haven't heard from that guy. Well, he's been DMing me, but he's just DMing me like random posts on like whatever. So he hasn't said that he's been wanting to go live, but we'll send him an invite link also.
Yeah, cool. All right, man. Well, to everyone on here, thank you for hanging out and whatnot. We'll see you later on tonight on the Deathlock Podcast. Till